not coming yet anyway. So, but let's talk about the Planning Commission. Mr. Reed, would you like to give us an update?
Sure. At the last meeting of the Benton Harbor Planning Commission, the last meeting of the City Commission, they both voted to forward to the public the 70% draft for a 63-day review. At the end of the 63-day period, the City Commission will meet and determine whether or not they want to accept the draft as the completed master plan. During the 63-day period, citizens or anyone who has not had an opportunity to make remarks or contributions to it will have that opportunity once again. After that, this would be sometime in late October, City Commissioner, the Advisory Committee, and the Planning Commission would meet, review the whole program, and then decide whether or not that's, should be released to, as our master plan. Also, we'll be looking at zoning during the same period of time. But in order to have a correct zoning or review of it, we need to have a completed master plan. So that's about where we are right now.
Thank you. Any questions for any from any of you? No?
Mr. Little was not here, but I was just thinking about that that Ox Creek plan. They're hiring somebody. They're hiring a project manager for that. I would like to have heard you talk about that.
Well, that
seemed like they're moving along with trying to get somebody in place to get this started.
Right. That position is posted and should be available through the city's website. There's also a new position for transportation that is through the University of Michigan, and it's a $70,000 a year position, but it's only funded for 1 year. But they are looking to employ, the University of Michigan is looking to employ someone who will work at the Twin City Area Transportation Authority doing smart transportation planning. So they've been studying the region's transportation system for 3 years to see where everyone goes, following cell phone data and sensors that they handed people to take with them when they take their trips to the various places they all go, to see where the bulk of the transportation needs are, and which routes people in general take, the general public, through the cell phone data, and then more specifically through the transponders. They're gathering data from just the transit riders. And now they're looking to implement an electronic system that will track where all the buses are, their estimated times of arrival at scheduled places, and all that data in real time will be available to transit riders. So you'll know where the bus is, even if it's not there yet. You'll know how long to wait. And they're hoping that they will be able to use that to improve the service, to make it more effective, getting people and building ridership.
I always thought that it was kind of cumbersome with the transportation system that they didn't have a scheduled route. I mean, it's sort of like it's still cumbersome if one person calls for a bus to come pick them up and someone else is at that location going in the same direction. That's not a bus that they can ride.
Well, they do have fixed routes. They have 2 fixed routes right now, and through that study they have proposed, I can't remember how many. I think there were 5 routes.
The blue line and the red line.
The blue and the red line now, but they're looking at breaking those up, and for the main lines actually having transportation go in both directions. so that you don't have to ride a circuit. So on major traveled areas on fixed routes, you'd have buses in both directions. So you could catch a ride home without having to go through that whole loop, which is an hour-long ride from where you start. So it could take you 2 hours, depending on of your day, depending on where you are getting on and off. So it's not been a really good option for most people to use as regular transportation. So that position is also posted publicly, but if people have questions, they can send an email to bentonharborDDA@gmail.com, and I will forward the information to them for the link to the website so they can fill out an application. Looks like a pretty good position if someone's just entering the profession or is taking a break and needs a transition. It comes with all kinds of benefits, and $70,000 isn't a bad salary for a year.
For a year, no?
Yeah. So hopefully we can get our transportation system up and running with a new director and all of this help from the University of Michigan. Let's see, holiday lights. We did not have a volunteer last time to lead the lead the committee, but we still need volunteers also to serve on the committee. So if everything's done by consensus, maybe there's no need for a chair, but we do need to have some people who are working on this. So,
Sign me up for it.
okay,
Just let me know the dates and times and locations.
okay. So Roger's agreed to serve.
Okay.
And so if you two want to coordinate a time that works for you,
Sure.
and then just let me know. Would you? Linda wants to help out as well.
Yeah.
So, and that way, that's a good group. So we can get something done to prepare. And the grant going to the community foundation is $1,000 grant for expenses for holiday lights.
Oh, okay.
So we already have some money from a sponsorship from AEP.
Okay.
So they'll be the presenting sponsor again this year. When you meet, we can talk more about where things stand this year. Next thing on our list here is State Theater.
I was going to pursue and am going to pursue bids on roof repair or full re-roofing. I have not made much progress on that, so I'll report again next meeting. I have maintained the grass on that block. I haven't communicated to the property owners there that I'm doing that, but just trying to keep our face pretty. So I'll keep at it and keep trying to let the folks know that are there that that's going on.
Did you, because I think if I remember correctly, the last meeting we were kind of focused on that part where it was leaking at. So
There's-
with the rain happening, coming now, are we?
Every rain that comes in, comes in.
Okay.
I thought I would pursue a patch job.
Yeah,
There's two big problems, and they should be easy, but life is not easy always. And so I thought I'd pursue professional patches or complete job. A tarp would not do it because the main leaks are at the big funnels where everything that goes on the roof ends up. So it all just kind of comes on through. it's not making more damage, but we need to stop it so the building can start to be dry. So, yeah.
Um,
One
Have you
other,
been in the building?
not in, really, not in a month.
Okay.
No. Last time I was in, there are new droppings up in the concession area because small leaks in that area are continuing to drop through, be like gypsum and such, secondary roof stuff. One other thing, a topic that was opened up in the last meeting was a contact with MDOT that I made. And I've seen visible signs of their action addressing my concerns. And so Yahoo, they cleaned up one problem and it looks like they're maybe pursuing the other one, the curb at the roundabout. But so far they've kind of made it orderly and less of a hazard.
Well, that sounds like progress. Fundraising. Well, we talked just a moment about grant writing, but I think now that we have a teacher with us, we were just kind of went over the change in leadership or across the street, and the event that you were talking about, is not going to happen in August, but I put in the agenda a little placeholder. So now that you're here, you want to talk more about that?
Okay, yes. So it seems to be possibly a bigger event in regards to incorporating more people. However, we still will work on it, but it'll just be more for the next year event. However, I'm still trying to get different events so that, can you hear me, Richard?
Yeah.
Okay, it's more a different event of our own where we are collaborating with the community. So I still have conversation in the works in regards to some people that have a license or either like to serve safe and things of that nature, or a food truck to come to the Welcome Center area, because that's the whole point. We really wanted something at the Welcome Center, not City Center Park, but the Welcome Center. So that's the whole process in regards to getting people to understand that we can be over there, we can go over there. However, I am stating some of the things that Richard talks about, how it's free to be over there. You don't have to pay for, things of that nature. And so I actually have had two different conversations. I know one of the women biker groups had wanted to do something and was trying to avoid a fee and things of that nature, that $250, I want to say, for the different parks and stuff. And they haven't gotten back to me. The last time was one of the reasons that I went to National Night Out was to meet up with them. And I will say that the Rough Riders are readily available to assist with something once we actually get some things in place. So again, we still have some fall months, because fall is not as bad as, it doesn't have to be summertime. Sometimes the heat wouldn't have people not come out, whereas I think fall is one of my favorite seasons. So I'm still hopeful that we'll get to be able to have at least one, possibly two events. And so I will have an update and a definite event by next week. And not before, because we can always send out, can we vote by email, or can we say anything by email? I can introduce some events by email is what I'm saying, like.
You can send something to me and I'll send it to everyone, but we can't have back and forth.
Right, I mean, what I'm saying is that you guys have to vote on the event actually. What do we even have to vote on?
Well, because it's our space, we, as the board, should probably vote to approve an activity taking place. So the committee can tee everything up and put together whatever you're recommending to us all, but that will have to come then before the full board in a public meeting for any decision making.
That would be a public meeting?
Yes. Committees can meet and discuss recommendations to the full board as long as there's not a quorum present. And then once those recommendations are decided upon in that committee, the committee can bring them before the full board. If there's a reason, because say it's a complicated project, that the information should go out before the meeting so people have a chance to review it. You can send the information to me, and I will distribute it to everyone, but things will only go in that direction, and then the discussion will take place in the public meeting. And deliberation and a decision made about whatever needs to be approved. That way we're covered by the OMA and complying with the OMA Act, Open Meeting Act. And at the same time, the board is protecting itself as a whole for what activities are taking place on behalf of the organization.
Just a formality, I get it, okay.
Yeah, that way everyone here
It's not gonna
knows-
happen. Okay, I get it,
knows what's what.
right.
So, and that goes the same for all the committees. You know, I mean, we're all doing our work separately, but we all need to bring it all back here
Oh, yes.
for final decision making.
But I do have, just because it's not as complicated to do stuff on my own, I have 2 events that we can say, or you guys want to be a part of it. That'll be great if you want to. So I actually have a flyer too. So it's all things wellness at Hull Park, and then the tire cleanup. That'll be. So I have that flyer, and so and it's not inclusive of us necessarily, but if you would like for us to be on it, what I mean in regards to showing the collaboration of being a part of events, it's not at the DDA or the Welcome Center rather, but I just wanted to inform you guys of that. It's one of the things I am doing to collaborate with the city too. So I have talked to the Parks and Recreation and to collaborate with the city. We're due to have more of a meeting to see what exactly public safety, what part they'll play in it. But yeah, I'm getting better.
Good job.
So if the DDA or if you guys want me to present it to say whether or not you want to say you are technically a community partner, collaborator, it don't need any funds or anything. This is just a whole park event, and this is the second tire recycle cleanup trailer that does 1,000 tires.
It doesn't take much for us to be a part, other than saying that we're a part, right?
Sure. I mean, if
There are tires scattered around the DDA district.
And I actually put us on the flyer last time, so because I was just I felt like that is a good thing just to say, hey, the DDA is partnering, but if we needed to be technical, I do not want to put us on there if everybody wants to vote first, whether to do so or not. This just really keyed up me asking and introducing that. Like again, the first tire cleanup, I had us on there because I feel like, okay, I'm a part of the DDA, so I want to give us credit for just thinking of different things. But
well, if someone wants to make a motion to,
I make a motion, DDA supports the tire cleanup effort
A second.
all right.
by using our name
yeah, just
and our energy. We can
right,
feed the
volunteers
tires,
would be
yeah.
nice.
Sorry, I'm making a note.
Virgil second,
For me.
I think.
So the time, and if
Is that a
you want to
question?
talk about, we can wait for discussion, right?
Any discussion?
So the dates then are, I actually am going to take it to the 28th. So the tire trailer will be at the Armory. And it will be there from September 28th to October 3rd. There will be a drop-off time. So a check-in, I'll put check-in so people don't think they can drop it off. So a check-in time, I actually am working with like Richard and some different people. We will actually be doing some collecting of tires. And so that is those days, the wellness event, all things wellness in the park. So different vendors will be there. So like Lact Power, who is a doula and a lactation specialist, Tamika White will be there, have a a session because I actually missed the Black breastfeeding week is this last week of August, and I won't have anything, but, and I'm actually partnering with Southwest Michigan Planning, Marcy Hamilton. We're partnering, so Al will be there to do another hike and possibly, so it'll be different wellness related activities and community partners there as well.
Okay, so that's a
DDA
separate
wants to
event.
have a table that's on the back. That's the same weekend or time frame. That's actually Saturday to September 30th. So if DDA wants to be there and have a table with ask and causes and different things, and maybe we'll have an event planned by then, and we can have a flyer there to promote that. But maybe
Well, we could certainly,
having some things there to say, hey, this is where we're at, and
well, we do need sponsors for Holiday Lights, so
we've asked for
we
sponsors.
can ask for,
Marcy will have different people that were there, for example, on some of the same people that were there for Earth Day. So,
I don't know if we need a separate motion or not, but probably a good idea if you want to have one for all things wellness.
Make a motion to support the DDA, support the All Things Wellness and name.
All right. And do we have support?
Support.
Okay, any more discussion? All right, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I do want to say, I noticed there's something that has to be changed on the tire.
I haven't even dispersed this yet. This was
Yeah.
just-
So the 200 Papa is the business incubator. That's what 200 Papa is, that
Oh,
address. So I'm not sure what the
what
address
the
is.
Armory address is.
For the Armory itself, it's on Cass Street, that much I know, but I don't know what
Yeah.
the number is.
Okay, I Googled that. I promise I did. I think.
Yeah, no, 200 Papa is the Business Growth Center, Carl Brown Center.
Okay, well, no, good deal.
Okay,
And I don't. you
and that's a
notice
good
I put-
place.
You notice I put Bobo Brazil
Yes.
because I've said Armory alone, and I've gotten some
472 Cass,
472.
something like that.
Thank you. So pass my flyers back, because those were like rough drafts. I haven't dispersed those. Thank you, but I'll send it, where are we able to share that via email?
Yeah.
The new flyers, okay.
Good. So I wrote it on there.
Oh, you did. Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, now,
Mr. Chairman, question, forgive my tardiness, but what are we doing with the Armory?
They are supporting the tire event, so the cleanup, because I just had, my time where I'm gonna talk about different events that we were trying to do, and Richard was explaining that we would have to bring it before the committee to actually vote on being a part of something, and I said, oh, that reminded me of these events that I'm planning to have, so we were voting to be a part.
Very good.
470 on the tax rolls. 470.
oh,
Little, do you know the address of the Armory?
I thought it was 462.
We have
Let me just double check.
well, we're in the right block. There's nothing else on it, so.
Okay, thank
We got the street right.
you.
Got the street
We
light.
got straight right.
Got
Because it sits on 4 different streets.
It's right in there.
Yeah.
Where's the front? The front door is Cass.
Cass.
So that's how
And no one knows where Cass Street is because it doesn't go too far,
no, it's a 2 box maybe.
Yeah.
Not even 2.
so.
But yeah, but that's it for me.
Okay, well, then if Mr. Little wants to tell us a little bit more about what's happening these days, and we've got about 10 minutes and we will start our training on updating TIF plans.
Well, good morning, everyone. Pleased to be here. A lot of things are moving in the city right now. We have approval on the corner of Wall Street project, which is a block down the street, bordered by Colfax, 8th Wall, and I forget the street behind it. We also have a conditional approval on Project T with a number of conditions that we have to meet by September 30. And we'll be getting busy on that very shortly. I'll want to try and get a working session together with the Planning Commission and their representatives so we can kind of chart out timetable for getting the different steps completed that need to be. We have received a high water grant of $300 something thousand to begin the process of studying the impact of the water levels, Lake Michigan, St. Joe River on the city's low areas, all up and down Riverview Drive, where you traditionally see water start to surface when the water gets high. It appears in the parking lot behind the bank, behind the old All-Phase Electric Company, and other places up and down there. And as a matter of fact, even going back into Paw Paw and Ship Canal, and ultimately back up in Ox Creek. So all of that's going to be under study. The Corps of Engineers have completed their preliminary assessments and mapping on Ox Creek, and hope to get some results to us by the end of the year. We are going to be applying for a $15 million grant with them that doesn't have a requirement for match to deal with a number of the issues associated with the creek. And as a result of this study, you may recall that I indicated earlier that the plan is, once the study is their analysis is complete, that they're going to create what they call a HEC-RES model that will show like you were looking at a video, and then they begin to run scenarios to determine what, if the areas we're trying to protect, what the best means of protecting them would be, what kinds of, whether it's a berm or some form of seawall or whatever is necessary to try and do that. It's going to be a challenge for us. We're great to have Corps working on this, but the city's objective is to get that creek back in its banks where it belongs. It does not belong in Hall Park, up on the baseball diamond, and everywhere else that has gotten to as a result of neglect for the last 50, 75 years. And we're going to try and straighten that out. That project is also has a numerous other pieces to it. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has made a grant of some almost $1 million that is funded through Southwest Michigan Planning Commission for some of the habitat restoration, design work, and so forth that they're going to be doing on this project. It is also going to fund a position that we'll bring on board with the qualifications and so forth to be able to assist me in managing that project. That project has gotten huge and continues to get larger. As again, I indicated from the beginning, before that thing's all said and done with, it'll probably be $20 million. And right now we've got Eagle, DNR, we've got Region 5 EPA involved in it, Corps of Engineers, National Park Service, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, University of Michigan. We've got all the right players in there to make that thing happen. The drain commissioner is going to be involved in it. And ultimately, we intend to try and get that project well on its way to getting done. Right now, we're at the stage of the environmental review, which is going to be a very complex review for this project, because this project covers about 2.7 miles from Paw Paw River all the way out to Home Depot, and actually connects with the drain that goes beyond there on the other side of I-94. But in addition to that, we are working on our housing development planning. I think I mentioned before, we've got University of Michigan assisting us with that. Initially, we had 2 professors that were involved. I think now there's several more people have joined, and we'll have MML involved. And initially, the project that I'm wanting to get put together with the state's help is one where we can package for everyday citizens who might want to and be able to finance and build a home, to utilize what the state has titled pattern homes. They've got a booklet of several single, duplex, quads, and so forth, that can purchase the entire construction package. You don't have to go through a whole lot of different things with it. It's compatible with what we've incorporated into our master plan in terms of what we want to try and develop. We want to package that with the incentives that are available from the state, tax-wise and otherwise, and possibly then couple it with a program to make available the lots that the city owns, so that these homes can infill many of these areas within the city that have been sitting for years. We think that should really expand some housing development opportunities for the city and meet our goals of trying to rebuild our housing stock, rebuild our population, rebuild our tax base, and get things moving. With the 77 units of missing middle housing that Project T will have, the 55 units of permanent supportive housing, and I'm still working with 3 other developers on trying to get them into the city to get some things done. I'll reiterate that part of our goal is to try to get these numbers up before the next census. We are an entitlement city, one of the few in the country our size that deals directly with housing and urban development and the federal government, and we want to protect that status. It's important to the city because it ripples into a number of other things. Dollaride deals directly with FTA, Federal Transit Administration, as well as the state, but it's all tied to that special status. So that's pretty much where things are right now. Well, one other thing I will mention, that was one reason I asked about the Armory. We are in the process of putting a grant proposal together. As I've often tried to explain to the commission, we have to go after what's available when they tell us that it's there. And for the 30 or 40 months I've been available on board now with the city, I've constantly responded to the commission that when they ask about the Armory and putting it back in operation, that the real problem is having a means of covering the overhead costs, the utilities, the security, insurance, all of that stuff. Well, finally, a grant has come available that could enable us to do that. And we're working on trying to get that grant ready to submit very shortly and are in hopes it will be successful. If so, it will allow us to repair the damages and so forth that have been done to the facility and also to operate it for at least a period of time. Naturally, the key question as always is how do we sustain it? And we're basically trying to map out a program where we fund it through this grant for at least 24 to 30 months. And by that time, then we have to have worked out a means to continue. And I hope that we'll be able to do that by some changes in the way that we do some things, that we start assessing some small fees or whatever to begin taking in some revenues, trying to work with other entities like the school district and so forth, and see if we can't start to get some of this stuff back on track.
This was kind of small stuff and current stuff related to Ox Creek Valley. Empire, the bridge that is a memorial bridge for the Floyd young lady that died in a collapse there.
It's on Britain.
Britain, I'm sorry. That's a highly trafficked sidewalk area, and there's a lot of litter that accumulates along the street. I stopped and grabbed a couple things just before they were blowing off into the creek there. Could the city put a litter bin in that area, either side of that?
I'll get with Public Works.
That'd be great if that could happen.
Makes sense. A lot cheaper than trying to clean it.
Yeah, once it goes in, it's a bigger job. Dumping, I don't know, all that stuff. The other, not related to Ox, but yes, it is related to Ox. Storm debris that we had the big wind come through, a lot of limbs down. I noticed what looked like a fairly new pile of some heavy equipment dumping of limbs and such on the top side of Hall Park near the last corner. I think I can't name the street right now, but is the city dumping tree matter?
Sure.
It's a big old something big is moving that in and pushing it in further.
I'll go through it.
Yeah. Where does the city dispose of limbs, trees, that sort of thing? I know they used to sometimes use Valley Drive, which is blocked off.
Yeah, and I am not certain the answer to that now. I know they were taking it to a certain portion of the landfill, but of course there's a cost on that.
Sure.
That's one of the reasons, and another thing that is going on is we're pursuing funding to try and locate and construct a compost yard so that we can take leaves and limbs.
And that's down the road a
that
little
type
bit.
of materials to it and so forth, as well as a yard to start to accumulate it. And
Transfer
station, so we can transfer trash and try to find
Yeah.
a better arrangement with lower costs.
Right. So sometimes it goes out to the landfill.
I will
Otherwise,
double check on
Yeah,
that
okay.
because it should not be.
Yeah.
I'll go and take a look, see what's happening.
yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yes.
I have a quick question on Ox Creek as well. With the environmental studies that are being done, have they looked at where the spoils and things are going to go from any of the contamination? Do you have a place already that?
They will have to go to what I believe they term Class 3 landfill that is certified by the state to receive that kind of contaminated material. Same thing happens when they have to, we're working on dealing with that right now because I'm trying to ramp up a demolition program for the city using community development block grant funds. And when first thing besides a SHPO review is an asbestos assessment, and if a house is found to have asbestos in it, or if it's down where it can't be determined, then they have to take it to that same type landfill that is certified with state to receive.
So one thing we've done in South Haven for that is we've put them on land that we were putting a parking lot on and put them in bags, let them dry out, and then backfilled over, and then that raised the elevation. So it wasn't in a floodplain area. The problem is you'll never be able to build on those. However, if it's going to be next to a park for parking lot, it's an ideal thing, and now you're not paying the money to transport them and dump offsite. So keep that in mind for,
Good to know.
to do that too.
Thank you.
So, should we move on to our training so
Yeah.
we can try to stick to our
Yeah.
schedule?
I just have one other meeting regarding the wind and the storms and all that. Is Public Works helping the residents by chipping or hauling off or doing anything? Obviously, we gotta have an end zone.
They've gone out a couple of times recently. I know the other day they worked on Cross and Broadway and through that area. But touch base with Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Meeks. and
Yeah.
see what
Okay.
they-
All right. End stream.
So today's, you may have seen this,